Another Sunday afternoon sees us on the sunny coast. Plume Park, the venue for round 23 of the New South Wales NPL men's competition, as the Central Coast Mariners Academy play host to the powerhouse of Sydney Olympic. Pete Pryor with you on behalf of Football New South Wales to take you through all the action. Absolute pleasure to have your company, as it always is, wherever it is in the world you may be watching from. These two teams fighting for 3 points today for very different reasons, of course. Sydney Olympic start the day just 1 point outside of the top six, with Sydney United in action elsewhere, hoping to maintain their charge for finals. As for the Mariners, they begin the day in 15th spot in the relegation playoff position, but level on points with the Wanderers. 3 points today would see them leapfrog the Wanderers, of course, and into potential safety. The team news is in, so let's take you through how each of the sides lines up ahead of kickoff here at Plume. 2 changes for Lucas Valela's Mariners. Out drop Ahmed El-Helu and Ty McKibben. In come Logan Sandbrook and Lawrence Taylor. The full lineup as follows, of course. Number 40, off the back of 2 back-to-back clean sheets, Joel Wade. The 3 in captain Michael Paragali. The 10 is Ayuk Mo. 11, Jai Rose. 13, as we said, Logan Sandbrook. 21, Muginga Mpota. 22, Shumba Mutakoi. 23, Lawrence Taylor. 24, Kai Schumacher. 35, Max Miller. And 38, Harry Jablonski. On the bench for the Coast this afternoon, reserve goalkeeper Jared Williams, Jordan Small, Ty McKibben, Angus Reid, Jesse Mantell, and potentially in line for his first grade debut for the Mariners. New signing from the Wanderers, Noah Peacock. The whistle blows and away we go here at Plume Park. The Mariners kicking from right to left on your screens. Sydney Olympic this week, Labi Haliti able to name an unchanged lineup to the side that defeated Sydney FC, fellow academy side, of course, in their outing last week, as Mpota flicks this one on. They line up with Jack Gibson in goal, of course. The 5 is Ziggy Gordon. The 11 here on the ball is Adam Parkhouse. 14, Seth Clark. 15, former Mariner who made the mid-season move, Luca Pecora. The 9, of course, Cyrus Demi. 10, Jack Armson. 18, Ten Kuol. 22, Dylan Ruiz-Diaz. And 28, Samuel Bosniak. The bench for the Travellers this evening, made up of Connor O'Toole, Michael Varkas, Monty Partington, Bailey Callahan, Joshua Hong, and another new signing there, Ryan Fuchs, who was on the score sheet himself last week against Sydney FC. Fairly spectacular way as well to introduce himself to the Sydney Olympic faithful. Half volley on the swivel from about 30 yards out, deceiving the young Sydney Gloveman, Gus Hoofsloot. Here's Demi. Paragali across quickly, playing covering defender to great effect. A couple of little afters there as well between the two of them. We spoke about Olympics form coming into this one, as we said, off the back of a 2-0 victory. Both sides in a bit of a similar vein of form, really, at the moment. Both sides have just lost one of their last 5 encounters. Mariners with 2 wins, 2 draws, and that solitary loss to Wollongong. Sydney Olympic with 4 wins. Punctuated by that 2-0 loss to Blacktown in round 21. Here's Demi. Motakui was touched tight and forced to turn it behind for a corner. Parkhouse using the short option here in Clark. unable to evade the attention of Jai Rose. Poking that one over the touchline. Luca Pecora. Initially looked like he was offering himself an option from the throw. Moves across to take it himself and receives the return pass. Olympic back to halfway with Gordon. Bosniak. Just helps it on. Sandbrook racing forward to apply the press on the centre-half pairing of Gordon and Bosniak, just keeping them honest. Gordon's able to effect the clearance, feeling the contact in the back from Logan Sandbrook and going down. Teng Kuol looking to show off his expansive range of passing. Here's Clark. Ruiz Diaz with a little flick around the corner. Unable to make that one stick though. One of so many with coasty connections in this lineup. Ruiz Diaz, a former scholar on the Central Coast. Already mentioned Luca Pecora, who was one of those who made the move. Ziggy Gordon, another one. Had a couple of seasons, or a season on the coast, I should say. Teng Kuol as well, came through the academy. Adam Parkhouse, Davistown born. Never actually played for the club though. Zach Zoricic in the lineup as well today. He came through the Mariners Academy ranks. Rose. Stolen off him by Teng Kuol, who looks to release Clark into the area. Now Pecora. Skips around the initial challenge of Mpota. Armson. Swings it back out wide to Clark now, who will swing it in towards the back post. Demi arriving late. Never really able to make real sort of meaningful contact with the ball in from Clark. It was a real wicked, teasing sort of delivery. Interesting sort of tail on it. Been in sparkling form himself of late as well, of course. Cyrus Demi, 6 goals in his last 7 appearances. Here's Taylor, though, for the Mariners. Now Mo looking to wriggle free of the attention of Bosniak. Has Miller overlapping. Swings it in towards Mpota. Gordon's there first. Just prodding it clear. Schumacher just stood on the ball initially, but able to regain his composure and linked up here with Miller. Back to halfway they go. Paragali helps it on to Matakoyi. Now Paragali looking for the big crossfield diag. It's a little too far ahead of Jablonski though. Jablonski, of course, into the side following the departure of Ben Mewitz. Still yet to be seen where he will land. Some very big raps on this young man, though, the left full-back in Harry Jablonski. As Gibson sends it long. Clark helps it on, looking for Demi, who skips around the challenge initially and pulled into the area. Jablonski first on scene. Throw hoisted into the area towards both Kuol and Demi. Neither of them able to really bring it under their spell. Clearance from Miller, straight into the legs of Teng Kuol. Just a goal kick at the end of it. Plenty of action across the league, of course, for your Sunday afternoon here in round 23. Elsewhere at Illingdon Sports Centre, Rockdale playing host to Apia Leichhardt. St George Derby, of course, at Barton Park this afternoon as well. Just about to kick off, Sydney United playing host to Wollongong. A match which I'm sure Sydney Olympic fans will have at least one eye on as well. Gibson just rolls it to the feet of Bosniak, who has a searching long ball forward looking for Seth Clark. Paragali rising to meet it. Schumacher towards Sambrook. Bosniak has taken away the legs there of Ayuk Mo. Mariners bench and coaching staff all up in arms over the challenge there from Samuel Bosniak. Another one who's come across in the mid-season madness. Sydney Olympic themselves very active in the mid-season registration window. Bringing in Bosniak from the Bulls Academy, of course. Made his starting debut against Sydney FC last weekend. Retains his spot today as well. Crossfield ball in the direction of Jablonski. Good first touch as well. All the passing lanes in front blocked off though. Watakui being harassed and harried by Clark, and now Demi affecting the press on Paragali. Sort of hurried clearance in the end really from Michael Paragali. Sliced out into touch on this near touch line. 10 or so minutes gone here at Pluim Park for round 23. Sydney Olympic with the Lions' share of possession, and now an interesting looking ball on the far touch line for Zoricic. Ruiz Diaz. Again, just looking to flick it around the corner for Zoricic, who was unable to keep it in the field of play in the end. Mariners once again happy to play short, play their way out from the goal kick. What was their undoing? Last time these two sides met, of course, Sydney Olympic running out victorious by 3-0 at Valentine Sports Park back in round 8. It's a deferred fixture, of course. Played a little more recently, in the tail end of May. Seth Clark on the score sheet in that one, and of course a brace to Cyrus Demi as well. The Mariners, in fact, have only actually beaten Sydney Olympic once. Funnily enough, we should mention that it was on this day, exactly 12 months ago, 13th of July 2024, down at Jubilee. Mariners fans will be very much hoping that lightning does strike twice. Demi, now Qual, able to free his feet, and now Parkhouse. Had Pecora overlapping, just goes back to Ten Qual. His cross is straight into the legs of Polter. Dry Rose trying to race free. Olympic will have it back though. Bosniak, now Zoricic. Olympic. Patience in possession here. Zoricic now with a bit of space to operate in on the left flank. Into the area it goes. It's too far ahead of Ruiz Diaz. Have it back though through Armson. Now Parkhouse. Good turn as well. Taken off the toe of Ruiz Diaz at the very last available opportunity. Mariners survive once more, but Taylor unable to wriggle free. Seth Clark now. Demi. Clark. Pecora. Again, straight into the legs of Jablonski. And another Sydney Olympic corner. Can take the opportunity to bring you a quick update from elsewhere as well in the league. If you don't want spoilers, block your ears now. At Barton Park, of course, in the St George derby. St George City currently ahead by a goal to nil. Mark McNulty, the scorer there. Sydney Olympic looking to go ahead here. Parkhouse's corner swung in right on top of Wade, who claims confidently. He's been in good touch of late as Joel Wade, of course, 2 clean sheets in back-to-back appearances for the Mariners. Here's Rose, another one who's been in absolutely scintillating form of late. No sign of his partner in crime today in Ahmed El Helou. Try and get an update on that one for you when we can. It should be a Mariners throw. And is. Hoisted in towards Mpota. Taylor. Qual was touch tight. Mariners, with what has been so far in this one, a rare foray forwards. Jablonski shifts it out to Schumacher, who will eventually fire in the cross to Mo. Didn't get the direction on the header, but Schumacher will get another chance here. A couple of touches before sizing up the cross, which is just overcooked. Now Zoricic is absolutely rapid on that far touch line. Heavy touch though, takes it a long way ahead of him, allowing Max Miller to steal in. Short of Pecora there to Gordon, and now Mpota will pick it up. He has Rose outside. He opted to try and shift onto his right himself, and Ziggy Gordon just standing firm. Ruiz Diaz taken off his toe now by Miller. Taylor back into the side this week after his mandatory suspension following his 5th yellow card of the season. Saw Ty McKibben come in for him last week and acquitted himself very nicely in his first grade starting debut. He drops back to the bench today though, does McKibben. Lucas Vallela just opting for the slightly more experienced Lawrence Taylor. Pecora. Olympic looking to transition rapidly. This is where they can hurt teams. Clipped in towards Demi, just brushing over the head of Cyrus Demi. Now it's Mo for the Mariners. Taylor, first time ball forward. Just not measured correctly. Gordon. Pecora now again hugging this touchline. Good first touch from Clark to take him away from Schumacher, but the pass didn't match the quality of the touch. Cut out initially by Mo. Just ran away from him though. Olympic will have it back, and Potter just keeping Gibson honest. Gordon. Qual. Flips the ball forward in the direction of Parkhouse. It's a long way ahead of Adam Parkhouse, who he is quick. He's not quite that quick. Doesn't really show too many signs of slowing down, either does Adam Parkhouse, in spite of his 32 years of age now. Another assist last week as well for Adam Parkhouse for the opening goal, of course. Mariners looking to get him Poser in behind Bosniak here, but the flag goes up. Through the opening 20 or so minutes here at Pluim Park, here in round 23 between the Mariners and Sydney Olympic, still the deadlock yet to be broken. Few real sort of clear-cut chances for either side. Both sides just really feeling their way into this one. Both sides acutely aware of what's at stake as well, of course. Still plenty of football to be played in the season. The Mariners a chance to hoist themselves out of the bottom two. Sydney Olympic potentially to hoist themselves into the top six. Olympic again. Most of the ball, trying to shift it around Seth Clark, busy, buzzing around everywhere, as he often tends to do. Gordon now looking for the crossfield diag. There's no one out there though. Not sure if he was expecting perhaps Seth Clark to be out there, or maybe Ruiz Diaz. Neither of them were, as it turned out. Sambrook trying to wriggle free of the attention of Qual. Now, Jablonski striding forwards. Greengrass ahead of him, clip delivery towards Mpota. Bosniak there to cut out the cross. Jack Gibson on hand to prevent the corner. Paragali to effect the clearance. He's absolutely well and truly made sure of that one there, has the Mariners skipper Michael Paragali. Mariners, of course, have a very strong run of home games in the back end of this season. Armstrong looks to swing in the cross, again blocked off. Again, the Mariners trying to play their way out, but unable to get it out of their own half. Flipped in behind by Armstrong towards Parkhouse, and again, Rutakoyi able to effect the challenge, but once again, at the expense of another Olympic corner. As we were saying, the Mariners with a very strong run of home games to end the season. Just one away fixture remaining for the coast. As Parkhouse swings this one in, rising at the back post was Cyrus Dimmy, of course. Similar sort of situation in which he scored the opener against Sydney FC. Similar sort of time as well last week from a set piece and a Parkhouse cross. Timmy just unable to guide it toward goal on that occasion. the best ball out from Wade. It's easy. Now it's Armson. Blocked off though. And now the Mariners look to carry it over halfway. Well, not like that they won't. Bosniak. Now, Zoricic again. Ball forward, straight into the legs of Ayuk Mo on that far touch line. Cora. Unhappy with the options presented in front, back with Gordon. And then once more across the back it goes. Qual. We'll send this one forwards on that far touch line where Zoricic is going on a foray forwards. Now Clark weaving his way forward centrally. Still going here, Clark. Now Demi holds it up and awaits. The run in from Ruiz Diaz, who swings the big left boot at it and then able to fashion the chance as well out of nearly nothing there, Dylan Ruiz Diaz. Didn't really get the cleanest sort of connection on it though, and Joel Wade. A fair old while to see it. Here's Mutakoi. Again, it's Clark proving an absolute nuisance. Paragali. Taylor. Stolen off him by Qual, and now Demi. Slaloming forwards, shifting in centrally, has his legs taken away. And referee Adrian Arndt immediately signalling for a Sydney Olympic free kick in a very, very interesting sort of position. No shortage of suitors as to who might want to take this, I'm sure. Fancy the angle probably favours the right-footed option. Parkhouse is still there, showing interest. Fancy this. Probably Cyrus Demi to strike. Maybe a little too close in to get the up and down. Over the wall and back under the crossbar, but certainly not beyond his capabilities. Joel Wade will have to ensure his wall is set just so. Will it be Cyrus Demi? Demi strikes. Just sails harmlessly over the crossbar and behind in the end. After all, it was just a little too close in. As we said, he's been in great touch of late, though, in fairness to Cyrus Demi. 6 goals in his last 7, 12 goals this season, all told. Here's Mpota now up the other end for the Mariners. This time he has his legs taken away by Armson. Armson and Qual both a bit of gamesmanship there just to delay the quick free kick. Paragali will eventually resume hostilities. Mutakoi again being harassed and harried everywhere by Seth Clark. Just one of those players who just doesn't stop. Is Miller. Mo. Final touch. Over the far touch line by Ruiz Diaz. Taylor. Good strength from Taylor. Potter couldn't reel it in though. But a loose first touch from Cyrus Demi allows Schumacher to win it back for the Mariners, and now it's Mutakoye. Jablonski. Paragali now assessing the options in front. Up square for Miller. A Schumacher. Clips forward towards Sambrook. Good first touch from Sambrook as well. And now, Ayuk Mo. Ruiz Diaz back, not shirking his defensive duties. Schumacher is the wall pass there, just straight back to Max Miller. Couldn't retain it though. Qual. Well, Miller will win it back. Sambrook weaving. Still going here, Sambrook. Tries to skip around the challenge of Zoricic. Final touch is off Zach Zoricic there, so behind for a Mariners corner. I fancy that might be the first Mariners corner of the afternoon here, with about 30 or so minutes gone here at Plume. Ayuk Mo is proving an absolute nuisance of himself right on the goal line there in back play. Corner hoisted in high and deep. Paragali will nod it back centrally. The Mariners are absolutely adamant that that struck a hand in that sequence. Adrian Arndt unmoved. Now it's Mutakoye. Taylor and Sambrook. Good challenge from Qual initially. Schumacher free his feet enough to strike it. And ricochets out here for Cyrus Demi. Again in transition here. Sydney Olympic racing forward through Parkhouse. Shifting onto his favoured left, and Parkhouse will get the strike away. Didn't quite have the accuracy that he might have hoped for. Just the one goal for the season for Adam Parkhouse so far. All the way back in round one, of course, that one. It was a pretty crucial one, in all fairness, to the Davistown native. In that 2-1 victory over St George FC, assisted the opener as well. He's been such an important figure for Sydney Olympic over the years. Their skipper, of course. Seemingly growing into this one nicely here. Potter, he felt he had his legs taken away. There's a few questions being asked from the Mariners bench as well there. Adrian Arndt again unmoved. Just a corner for the Mariners. Jablonski again across to take. Does possess a wicked left foot, Harrison Jablonski. But before that, referee Adrian Arndt has some sorting out to do, and it's, as we mentioned at the last set piece, Ayuk Mo getting a stern lecture. Just a talking to. It's been dumped to the deck and back play as well. Ayuk Mo. The corner comfortably falling into the hands of the Olympic gloveman Jack Gibson. Pecora to play one into the half space, into the channel really for Parkhouse. It's comfortable for Jablonski. And now it's clipped forward towards him, Potter, who's not going to give up on this one either. Jack Gibson forced into a really rather hurried clearance. It breaks kindly on halfway for the Mariners. Here's Rose, little back heel as well. Just a bit of a different wavelength to both Potter and Taylor. Clearance affected, but the Mariners will retain it. Wutukui. It's their turn to display some patience in possession here, the Mariners. Of course, as soon as I say that, Paragali driving one forward. The Mariners will win it back on halfway through Taylor. Schumacher, Sambrook, clipped over the top, giving Mo something to chase. He's able to keep it in play as well, Mo, and now wants to get around the outside of Zoricic. Cross is blocked off. Jack Gibson will plunge on the ball to keep it safe. He's been in good touch himself this season, of course. The Olympic gloveman, ever present between the sticks. 7 clean sheets all told as well for the 22-year-old. Following his signing from the Wanderers. Zoricic racing forward. Paragali. Well, there's a couple of little afters here as well between Paragali and Zoricic. Mariners skipper all fired up. Pecora. Wozniak. Forward centrally for Demi, who's dropped deep. Able to wriggle his way through 1, 2 and 3, but not the fourth challenge. Ruiz Diaz now. Parkhouse. Pecora. Qual. Back to halfway with Gordon. Clark. I'd love to see his heat map at the end of this game, Seth Clark, of course. He said he's such a handful because he drifts absolutely everywhere. Impossible to keep tabs on. Here's Parkhouse. Skips around Rose initially. Back to Qual and then back to Gordon. Again, another sustained period of possession this for Olympic. Zoricic, Clark, 2 Kiwis combining. Qual. Won't be long until the Olays start up in the crowd from the Olympic fans, I fancy. As this is swung out. Well, there's the prime example of the curse of the commentator. Swung out towards the near touchline where Pecora was awaiting the pass, and Jablonski rising to cut it out. There's an Olympic player down in back play as well. I think that's Zach Zoricic from the looks of it. He's involved in a bit of a set two with Michael Paragali just earlier. 5 or so minutes ago. Just getting some running repairs here, Zach Zoricic. Well, 37 minutes gone here at Pluim Park in round 23. Still goalless Olympic, as we said, with the Lions' share of possession. Unable to make it count where it matters most, of course, so far. Well, here's the break in play to take the opportunity to bring you some updates from elsewhere as well across the league. As we said, 4 games across the league for your Super Sunday of football at Illingdon Sports Centre. RPL Leichhardt currently lead Rockdale. Michael Cooter putting them ahead. Still 1-0 at Barton Park in favour of St George City. As we get back underway here at Pluim. Wozniak clipping one in behind towards Demi. Max Miller had body position, but he's forced to concede the corner. The Sydney Olympic, meanwhile, return to their full complement of 11. Zoricic back on the pitch, but I'll tell you what, he's not moving all too freely. Keep an eye on that one. Ruiz Diaz across to swing this corner in. through on behind the ball for the Mariners. Near post delivery, nodded clear initially by Sunbrook. Fancy Clark will get there first. He does. Difficult for Ruiz Diaz to control. In fact, he's unable to do so. Now it's into touch. Asking the question of a handball on the far touchline. Again, Adrian Arndt says nothing doing, and now Rose able to free his feet and link up with Jablonski and Poulter. Fancy he's gone a fraction of a second early there. The flag is up on the far touchline. Poulter found offside. Do look threatening when they do move the ball quickly like they did. And that little sequence there, just finding little pockets, useful pockets of space. Five minutes to go until the interval as Gibson sends this one just about into the Mariners penalty area, repelled by Mutakoye. Gordon will have it back for Olympic though. Zoricic unable to advance past Ayul Kamo, and he's down on his haunches, down to the turf again. Here is Zach Zoricic, and I fancy it may perhaps prove to be a bridge too far for him to continue today. Maybe Haliti is going to be forced into a change inside the opening half here at Plume. Options on the bench including Connor O'Toole and Josh Hong, of course, as well. Zach Zoricic indeed does take his leave. It is Connor O'Toole introduced to the fray. First appearance for Connor O'Toole since all the way back in April, in fact. That 1-1 draw with St George City. And it's Olympic again on the march forward here through Pecora. Again pulled into the area and again blocked off by Mutakoye, and again Mutakoye conceding the corner. Here's Pecora, flipped in towards Demi on the turn, on the volley. Didn't really make any clean sort of contact with it, and all the way behind it goes. Just a goal kick to show for it. Good to see Connor O'Toole on the comeback trail, of course, as we said. His first appearance since the 12th of April in round 10. Started every available fixture up until that point. Mo. A little too far ahead of Mpota. Will come back for the free kick at the end of it. Actually, well, in fact, it's going to be a Sydney Olympic free kick. Back underway. Pecora. Parkhouse. Jablonski again is touch tight, and then final touch is indeed off Adam Parkhouse. Jablonski. Again, the Mariners looking to play their way out. Schumacher's had enough of that and sends it up as far as Gordon on halfway. Fancy it's going to come straight back at them though. Quoll Just ran away from him though. Rose, Pecora. It's a little bit scrappy in the centre of the park. Qual gets us back underway. Parkhouse. Armson swings it out to the far touchline in the direction of O'Toole. Rising was Miller, now Mo. Porter. Strong challenge from Gordon. Mariners have it back though on the far touchline again. Racing after that one was Max Miller. Just a little too far ahead of the Mariners fullback though. Here's Mo. Put forward, looking for Sandbrook. Olympic have it back. Clark releasing Demi into the area. Cyrus Demi! It's a very good save, in fact, from Joel Wade. Stretches the big left boot at it. Turn behind for another Olympic corner. And that's about as close as either side have come as we tick over the final minute of the regulation first 45. Just 1 minute of time to be added on. And Sydney Olympic will open up that minute from the corner. Hoisted high and deep, and two good fists to it from Wade initially. Bouncing around everywhere. A little bit chaotic before it's eventually nodded behind for another corner. Miller was with the final touch, nodding it behind. Again hoisted in high and deep. Potter was rising, as was Qual. Final touch off Teng Qual. Which will not quite be the final action. I've heard a whistle go, but it's on one of the other pitches here at Plume, of course. And in fact, Adrian Arndt does say that will be that for the first stanza as we do tick over that final minute of added time here at Plume Park. Goalless at the break between the Mariners Academy and Sydney Olympic. Don't go anywhere. Join us for the second half in about 15 or so minutes' time. A very warm welcome indeed back to Pluham Park here on the Central Coast for round 23 of the New South Wales NPL men's competition. It is the Mariners currently locked up 0-0 with Sydney Olympic. 45 minutes of action to come. Olympic to get us back underway here for the second stanza. First half of very few clear-cut opportunities. Cyrus Demi for Sydney Olympic went the closest, drawing a very good save out of the Mariners custodian Joel Wade. And they're on the march forward again. O'Toole on the half volley. It was dipping. Wade had long enough to see it. It's a clean strike there from Connor O'Toole, as we said. First half substitute coming on in place of Zach Zoricic. Sambrook now looking to release Jablonski on the far touchline. It's a long way ahead of Harry Jablonski, though. Porter. Rose. Taylor. Back with Paragali. Now it's Miller. He's left a little bit short of Ayuk Mo. Now Connor O'Toole. Clark, who was busy and industrious in the first half. Armson. Sambrook back. Doing a handy bit of defending there. And then going through the back of Jack Armson. Delaying the quick restart as well. Here's O'Toole. Ayuk Mo racing forward to take it off the toe of Connor O'Toole. Clark. It's a bit of a skewed ball back to Gordon, a bit hurried. Worked out in a roundabout sort of way nonetheless. Connor O'Toole trying to play Seth Clark into a pocket of space there. Again, it's Paragali across covering. Here is Clark now, though. O'Toole. Outside of the foot pass is cut out by Miller. And now Sambrook able to swivel around 1 and 2. And now looking to release Rose. He's got Gordon for company. Shifting onto his right, Rose. And then it's too far ahead of Sambrook. Again, the Mariners looking moderately dangerous when they do shift it forward quickly like that. Sydney Olympic look to go back up the other end immediately, though, through Ruiz Diaz. Twisting and turning and then clipping it into the area and straight into the arms of the awaiting Joel Wade. The opening couple of minutes of the second half here at Plume Park have been played at a fantastic tempo already. Here's Mo. Both sides trading punch and counter punch. Sambrook now. Mo. Goal kick at the end of it. Mo feeling slightly aggrieved, feeling the final touch was off Ziggy Gordon. Jack Gibson, as he has done pretty much all season, sending all the short options forward. Before hoisting it into the afternoon sky here at Pluham in the direction of Demi, who had Sambrook touch tight to him. Sambrook's done enough to win his side. The throw just in front of our broadcast position here. Miller hoisted in. Mo just lets it run. O'Toole will hook it back over his shoulder. Ruiz Diaz, and now Demi. Little layoff for Clark. Demi will have it back as well. Now Clark racing forward here. Parkhouse into the area. Parkhouse striking. Blocked off by Paragali. Pecora retrieves. Whoa! Blocked off again by Mutakoyi. Now Ailk Mo. Sambrook. The young Joey. What can he deliver? Schumacher. He thought about the shots. Gyros is the wall pass. Schumacher has it back. Shifted left for Jablonski via Taylor. Taylor will have it back in turn. This is going back and recycling. Schumacher now forward for Jablonski. Rose to the byline. Dancing feet from Rose. Only behind for a goal kick though. Certainly feels like there's a bit more zip to the opening exchanges here in the second stanza here at Pluim. Here's Rose. Taylor. Schumacher. First time ball forward for Sambrook. He's taken off his toe initially. Schumacher wins it back on halfway with a smart challenge. Now Miller. Mo. Across was Bosniak with a very good challenge on Ailk Mo. Miller. Schumacher offering support. Taylor. All the way back to Paragali and Motokoyi. Jablonski. Taylor striding forward. Seth Clark tracking him all the way, and Taylor looks to evade his attentions and has done so. Rose. Jablonski, who'd remained inverted. Miller. It's the Mariners' turn to stroke the ball around. Mo. Driving inside, heavy touch though, took it a long way away from him. An Olympic, again, transition rapidly. Parkhouse bursting into the area. Parkhouse striking. Wade turning it behind. It's on his perhaps non-preferred foot there, Parkhouse. Trying to just sneak it inside Joel Wade's near post, that left-hand upright. Another corner for Olympic though. Seth Clark across to take. Last season's Northern New South Wales Player of the Season, Seth Clark, swings this one in. Repelled initially. Parkhouse will nod it back forward, and Motokoyi will send it up as far as halfway. Pecora to retrieve. Olympic wanting a handball against Schumacher there. Again, Adrian Arndt says nothing doing. Raking crossfield ball there from Bosniak to link up with Parkhouse, and it's Clark again. He's been everywhere this afternoon. He has his legs taken away from him by Rose. Another attacking set piece here for Olympic. everyone behind the ball defending this for the Mariners. Nearly everyone forward for Olympic as it's swung in towards the penalty spots. Repelled initially, and then the strike will come. It's an awfully awkward height for Ruiz Diaz. He is capable of the spectacular, of course, Dylan Ruiz Diaz, but didn't get the connection he would have hoped. Schumacher, Quoll across very quickly to win it back for Olympic. Able to dig it out as well, but only as far as Miller. Taylor up into the sky. Taylor will nod it back down towards Mpota. Catches some contact in the back there from Bosniak. He stayed down as well here, looking at Mpota. Play goes on meanwhile through Rose. Parkhouse across defending. Mpota, meanwhile, back to his feet. Sandbrook. Back into the starting side today. Logan Sandbrook weaving around on the edge of the area. Releasing Rose into the area. Now Mo strikes. It's a long way over. In the end, the efforts on goal from Ayuk Mo. Certainly more positive signs from the hosts in the opening 10 or so minutes of the second half here at their home venue. Their home venue, of course, as we said, where they're finally becoming a little bit more familiar with in the back end of the season. Just one away fixture remaining for the Coast as they look to try and turn Plume Park into somewhat of a fortress, really. 0-0 draw with Sutherland last week. 2-0 over Mount Druitt the week before. 3-1 victory over Sydney United. Doing Sydney Olympic somewhat of a favour in the process as well. I'll not be wanting to do any sort of favours for Sydney Olympic today. Of course, as we said, that battle for that sixth and final spot, intriguing as ever, between Sydney United and Sydney Olympic. Sydney United in action elsewhere this afternoon as well, hosting Wollongong. Half-time in that one, still deadlocked there, as it is here at Plume. Demi trying to turn around the attention of Jablonski. They'll have the throw for their efforts. Clark. Back with Bosniak. Clips it out to this near touchline for O'Toole, who just lets it run away from him. Much to the ironic cheers and jeers of those in yellow and navy. Lucas Vallela will take the opportunity to go to his bench for the first time this afternoon. Lawrence Taylor, who returned to the starting 11, is off. On comes Ty McKibben, the other departing party, Ayok Mo. Jesse Mantell on in his place. Like-for-like changes for Lucas Vallela's side. Here's an early touch for McKibben. Strides around the attention of Quoll. Now Rose. Rose will strike! And it will flash just wide of that right-hand upright of Jack Gibson, who was stretching every sinew to ensure that he had his goal covered. That is as close as the Coast have come so far in this one. Abi Haliti will go to his bench for the second time this afternoon. Dylan Ruiz Diaz taking his leave. Ryan Fuchs, another mid-season signing from the Northern New South Wales system, on in his place. Nods it on to Demi. Now Parkhouse flags up. Wade wasn't to know he made a very smart save down to his right. He's quick to get us back underway here as well through Miller, striding forwards. Fizzed in at the feet of McKibben with a very good first touch. Mo with some good strength as well. Schumacher swings it wide. Mantell, his first involvement of the afternoon. Cannons back off the legs of Jesse Mantell, low and behind for an Olympic goal kick. Ryan Fuchs, as we said, another one with Kiwi connections. Ashburton born, came across, as we said, in the mid-season window from Edgeworth. Scored that really spectacular goal against fellow academy side Sydney FC last week to seal the deal. Could have had a couple, in fairness. Was leading the goal-scoring charts in Northern New South Wales as well. At the time of his departure, 24 goals all told in just 13 games. Scored 27 last season for Edgeworth. Here's Demi, and here is Fuchs into the area. Flag is up again. This time again against, I should say, Ryan Fuchs. Signal of intent. Ryan Fuchs is going to just hang off the shoulder of that Mariners back four, particularly the likes of Mutakoyi and Paragali. It's a really fearsome front three now with Parkhouse involved as well. Driving into the area, Parkhouse driven straight into the legs of Joel Wade. Bounces up into the arms of a Mariners defender, and we will go to the spot. Just about 63 minutes gone here at Pluham Park. Joel Wade is trying to plead his case to Adrian Arndt, but it looked fairly cut and dry. Certainly away from the body there from Michael Paragali. You do have to feel for the young centre-half. There's not too much he could do about it. But it certainly bounced up into the arms of the Mariners skipper. And Sydney Olympic with a golden chance to go ahead here through former Mariner Tenqual. Hush falling over Pluham Park as Quoll steps up, and Quoll scores! He scored on his return to Pluham Park with the Wanderers, and he's done it again with Sydney Olympic here today. The deadlock is broken by Tenqual. And after the Mariners' bright start to the second half, it's all come undone. Where to from here? Still 26 or so minutes gone, or to play, I should say, in the second stanza. But this could be absolutely monumental in terms of not only the bottom three spots, but also the top six. The Mariners want to hit back immediately. McKibben inside. Feels he's brought down by Quoll. Referee again, nothing doing. And again, Olympic on the march, on the charge forwards. Parkhouse, so heavily involved throughout proceedings here. Pecora underlapping and crossing behind. Into the final 25 minutes we go here at Plume. We can bring you some updates from elsewhere as well. That's Illendon. Apia have just gone 2 goals to the good. Monge has added a second there. Still 1-0 in favour of St George City in the St George derby. At Sydney United Sports Centre, still deadlocked. So as it stands, Sydney Olympic would launch themselves into the top 6. Here's Rose. Jablonski. Sambrook. Trying to wriggle free of Seth Clark, but just a bit of a heavy touch from Sambrook there and behind. Gibson again sends it high into the dreary afternoon sky here at Plume. The cloud cover certainly coming over, perhaps reflecting the mood of those in yellow and navy somewhat. They find themselves a goal behind here. The first goal they've conceded in about 240 minutes of football at Plume. Joel Wade conceding for the first time after 2 back-to-back clean sheets, and Fortress Plume, as we called it earlier, has been breached. Here's Qual. Clark. Very good sliding challenge from Schumacher to take it off the toe of Seth Clark. He's got through a mountain of work this afternoon. Has Olympics number 14. Jablonski on the far touchline for the Mariners now, looking to invert. Easily won by Armson. Who in turn effects a sliding challenge on Jai Rose and turns it into touch. Now McKibben for the Mariners on halfway. Forward by Miller, just on a different wavelength again to Mpolta. Sambrook's not giving up on that one though. He's done ever so well, in fact, to even win his side the throw. Mantell twisting and turning and trying to weave around the attention of Connor O'Toole, who has simply bodied him off the ball there, much to the chagrin of those Mariners faithful in the stands here at Plume Park. Like he took all too much of the ball bits. It's a good old school footballing challenge, if nothing else. Vastly experienced, of course, Connor O'Toole. Nearly found himself plying his trade on the Mariners at one point in time during his career back in 2020, before eventually signing for the Newcastle Jets. Came in this season from Western United as well, of course. Poulter nodding it down to Mantell. Schumacher. Dinked over the top for Mantell. That's a great ball from Schumacher. Now Mantell wants to isolate Connor O'Toole here. Sambrook. Just always shifting onto his right there. It's taken him a little wider than he would have liked. He does have Mantell supporting. Now cross from Mantell. A little bit chaotic before the strike does arrive. Jablonski. Repelled once more. Utsukoyi. Rose. skipping inside of 1 and 2, and then has his legs taken away right on the corner of the area there. He's a tricky customer to contend with, of course, young Jai Rose. Scored a couple of spectacular goals in the Mariners' victories over Mount Druitt and Sydney United. He might just be sizing this one up as well. Rose and Jablonski both standing over this one. It would take something special to beat Jack Gibson from here, though. It is Rose. He's nodded clear initially by Pecora and then hooked over his shoulder by Parkhouse, who will complete the clearance as well. Hoisted in towards Mutakoyi. Gordon gets there first. Clark and then Parkhouse sending it back to halfway. As far as Mutakoyi, that's a good piece of footwork as well to take him away from Demi. Miller. Mutakoyi. Jablonski. Paragali. Ball was cut out before it reached Miller. Sambrook will have it back for the Mariners though. Spinning around the challenge of Quoll and Clark and keeping it in play as well there. Really utilising the very full width of the pitch there, Logan Sambrook. Now swung out towards Jablonski. He's done well to keep it in play himself. Into the channel for Rose, pulled into the area, pops out for McKibben. Fancy it may have taken a touch on the way through and behind for a Mariners corner. We're asking the question of Adrian Arndt as well, feeling it may have struck a hand on the way through. Awfully difficult to see from this sort of angle. It does look like they were asking for the handball against Ziggy Gordon, but his arms did look to be fairly well down by his side in what could certainly be deemed as a natural position. In any case, on we go. McKibben clicks forward. It's all too far ahead of Rose, though. Now, I was about to say that the Mariners do still have options on their bench, but it will be Labi Haliti who will go to his bench first. The board from the fourth official, Marco Solman's not going up, so he just awaits confirmation on exactly who these changes may be. Cyrus Demi is one of those making his way across to take his leave for the afternoon. It is indeed Cyrus Demi. Double change, in fact, for Labi Haliti's side. Looks like Parkhouse, the other departure, as this is clipped forwards towards Varkas, who's just been introduced. Bailey Callaghan, the other introduction. So that's all three substitute windows used up by Labi Haliti. The Mariners still have two windows available to them. Options on the bench, including, of course, Jordan Small and Gus Reid. Perhaps more defensively minded than they really need at this stage of the game. But, of course, they do have the opportunity to bring on someone like Noah Peacock. As they march forward again here, Sambrook takes a touch on the way through. Another Mariners corner. I do feel it's perhaps only a matter of time until we see the introduction of Noah Peacock. Of course, last season's under-20s Golden Boot winner at Spirit FC. A couple of handy goals in the Australia Cup to boot as well. Jablonski to take. Swings it in centrally. Repelled by Gordon. The strike from McKibben. It's chaos. It's off the crossbar and it's Rose off the post. How has that stayed out? The goal has been given. The Mariners level proceedings after an absolutely chaotic sequence of play. It doesn't matter how they go in. It just matters that they do, and I fancy the final touch may have been off that man again, Jai Rose. It cannoned off the crossbar and back out to the head of Jai Rose. Well, we'll have to leave it to the goal review panel to see exactly where that one is awarded to. I'm sure Rose won't mind the credit for the time being, though. 15 or so minutes to go here at Plume. Where to from here? Futes. And now Clark. Joel Wade initially scrambling and then seemingly confident enough that he had his angles correct. It's been somewhat of a topsy-turvy contest, this one, here at Plume. O'Toole, cheeky little nutmeg there on Sandbrook to link up with Armson. He's just on a different wavelength to Futes and Callaghan there. Well, this one is set up for a potentially barnstorming final 12 or so minutes here. Qual. Callaghan giving chase, as is Paragali, and that's an excellent captain's challenge there from the Mariners centre half, Michael Paragali. Here's Gordon, who's taken on the armband in place of Adam Parkhouse. Armson, seemingly playing even deeper now. Forward for Futes. And again, it's Paragali smartly across. Mantell. They want to get it forward immediately, and they do through Mpota, who has Rose outside. Just ran away from him a little bit though, Mpota. Schumacher, and now Rose. Into the area goes Rose! Flashing across the face of goal. It's taken a touch on the way through as well. Another Mariners corner. Another chance to create some absolute mayhem in the penalty area, as they did just minutes ago. Jablonski again to take. Put in centrally. Gibson initially spilled it, but claims it at the second bite. Barkis. It's McKibben for company. His pass, though, only finding Clark. shifts it on here, Clark. Now, Fuchs. Back to Bosniak. Olympic, again, happy to play keep ball here. Armson. Clipped forward this time towards Fuchs. Callahan wriggles free. Varkis. Just giving enough room to allow Jablonski to steal in there. Jablonski, though, forced again to turn it behind. Inside the final 10 here at Plume. Mariners, meanwhile, are readying a change. They won't make it at the corner, of course. This one is to be swung in. Wade came to claim, didn't reach it. Clark! Wade able to recover. Gratefully clutched that one to his chest now, and Potter tussling on this near touchline with Armson, who wins out. The Mariners will now take that opportunity to go to their bench. Interestingly enough, the board from the fourth official is initially upside down. There will be the change that we had suggested. Logan Sambrook, who toiled hard this afternoon, will take his leave. And it will be a first grade Central Coast Mariners debut here for Noah Peacock. Fascinated to see what this young man can do on the coast following his mid-season move from the Wanderers. But before that, it's Pecora, who, well, maybe looked like he was stuck in two minds there. Fuchs will pick it back up for Olympic. And the free kick will be awarded. Mariners with yet more defending to do here. This one, oh so finely poised. Qual, of course, who opened the scoring for Olympic from the spot. Looking to turn provider here. Motokoyi rising. Only as far as Clark. Again, it's swung back in, and again it's repelled by Miller. And the referee's whistle offering some relief for the Mariners there. Mantell it was who was brought down. Just had his heels clipped on the edge of the area. Well, for the Mariners, a point isn't the worst of circumstances. Of course, it would still see them elevated outside the bottom two. At the start of today's play, of course, all three of those sides in the bottom three, Mount Druitt, Wanderers and the Mariners, all locked up on 14 points. Michael Paragali, it is, who's wearing the scars of war for his sins, back to his feet immediately. As for Sydney Olympics League position, a lot of that will come down to what happens between Sydney United and Wollongong elsewhere. They want to keep their destiny in their own hands, though, and they look to do just that here with O'Toole and now Qual. Again, clipped into the edge of the area. Fuchs looking to free his feet. Fuchs will strike. It's blocked off before Rose hooks it clear. Potter going through the body of Pecora there, the former teammates up until a couple of weeks ago. We can bring you some updates from elsewhere as well. At Illingdon Sports Centre. Still Apia with the lead. They have been pegged back by A Rockdale goal just a few minutes ago, but Rockdale have just seen a red card as well. Meanwhile, in the St George derby at Barton Park, St George City have extended their advantage to 3-1. Here's Peacock. Rose swings it to this near touchline for Mantell. Max Miller is racing forward to underlap. Mantell inverts himself. Schumacher tries to clip it in towards Peacock. Not really the sort of delivery that was required, though. McKibben racing back to retrieve it. Paragali, Mantell. This helps it wide with Miller. Back inside with McKibben. Dink over the top from McKibben. Not a clear initially by Bosniak. O'Toole will nod it straight back to the feet of McKibben. Miller. Still going here, Miller for the Mariners. Driven towards the back post where Rose was rising and just brushing off the blonde locks there of Rose. Well, not perhaps the target man that one might expect in that situation, Jai Rose. He got his head to the Mariners' equaliser about 15 or so minutes ago, restoring parity. We're still not entirely certain if he will, in fact, be awarded the goal, but that's what we're going with for now. Schumacher. Gordon rising highest. Now Clark for Olympic. Trying to bustle his way through a couple of challenges on that far touchline. He'll win the throw, if nothing else. Here's again Clark. O'Toole. Handy looking ball into the channel there for Futz, who will swing this one in. Rising was Varkis, over the head of Varkis. Clark looking to retrieve. He does so. Now Pecora, measuring the cross centrally. Wade again rising, plucking that one out of the afternoon sky. We can bring you that final update from elsewhere as well at Sydney United Sports Centre. With 20 minutes to go in that one. Still deadlocked between Sydney United and Wollongong. Sydney Olympic hoping Wollongong can do them a favour. Meanwhile, there's a coming together between Mpota and Gordon will go straight into the referee's notebook. Yellow card number 6 of the season there for Ziggy Gordon, and the first one of the afternoon here at Plume. Just experience really from the former Hamilton Accies defender. Halting the advance from Mpota. Professional foul if nothing else, but a chance again for the Mariners to swing this one into the area, which Rose does. Peacock! I'll tell you what, that's an outstanding save from Jack Gibson, but what an introduction that would have been to the Central Coast for Noah Peacock. Measured his head up with aplomb. Not too much more he could have done about that. Fantastic piece of goalkeeping. At full stretch there as well, Jack Gibson. He'll have another chance from the corner, mind you. Rose again swings this one in. It's over the head of Peacock this time. And Olympic again trying to get forward quickly, all too quickly. Miller. It's his turn to be too hasty. O'Toole will clip it forward. Motokoye across, covering defender. Motokoye, we're going to have 4 minutes of added time here as we tick through the regulation 90. It's Mpota skipping onto his left, has his legs taken away by Qual. And another free kick for the Central Coast Mariners. This one more central. Well, this is an intriguing proposition. Certainly far enough out to get the up and down. Angle perhaps favouring the left footer here, and it is Harrison Jablonski standing over this one. Could he steal the headlines so late at Plume? We're no strangers to late drama here at Plume Park, of course. Jesse Mantell also standing over this one. He leaves it. Jablonski straight into the arms of Jack Gibson, who gets us underway immediately. Sydney Olympic understand the urgency of the assignment. The Mariners perhaps looking to just slow this one down somewhat. Late change here with Jai Rose taking his lead. Jordan Small, the final introduction for the afternoon for the Coast. Olympic, meanwhile, marching forwards. Bursting into the area, it was Armson and Pecora, and the Mariners again doing just about enough to deal with it. Just about halfway through added time here at Plume. Hooked over the shoulder of Varkis towards Callahan. Turned into touch by Jablonski. Clark with the wall pass. All the way back to Ziggy Gordon. Bosniak drives one forwards. Nodded back to Joel Wade by Jablonski. And Wade had an awful lot to do there. And he's done it ever so well, in fairness. We've spoken about, of course, the likes of Jai Rose and Ahmed El Helou over the last few weeks. Joel Wade deserves no end of credit. Here's Miller. Paragali. Little flick around the corner there from Peacock, looking to release Mantell. Peacock! Oh! Well, he's been lively since his introduction off the bench. It's another opportunity for Noah Peacock. Flashing over the crossbar this time. You can certainly see why there's a real buzz around this young man. Of course, the son of footballing royalty there in Adam Peacock. He's herring after this one as well, going to keep Ziggy Gordon honest. Bounces up awkwardly from Motokoye. Small. Qual retrieves it for Olympic and now looks to release Varkis. Motokoye again. Excellent covering defence as we tick into the final few seconds of added time here. This might be the last roll of the dice for Olympic. Mariners just diving in a couple of times. It's effective enough, though, before it rolls into touch on the far touchline for a Mariners throw this time. Small. And that will be that here at Plume Park. The spoils shared between Sydney Olympic and the Central Coast Mariners. The Mariners hoist themselves out of the bottom two with a point that could be absolutely crucial come the end of the season. It was Tenqual, of course, who opened proceedings from the penalty spot in the second half. Once again, scoring against the Mariners at Plume Park before a moment of absolute chaos. There's no other way to describe it. Saw the Mariners level proceedings. It looks like the goal has been awarded to Shumba Mutakoyi. We'll have to go to the goal review panel for that one. I'm sure there will be no end of debate in the sheds after this as to who will claim the reward for that. The Mariners, of course, will return to their home venue, Plume Park, once again next week as they play host to St George FC. Sydney Olympic return home as well themselves as they play host to Mount Druitt Town Rangers. The Mariners will be hoping Sydney Olympic can do them a favour in that one there as well. Those kickoffs at 3 and 5 p.m. on Sunday afternoon next weekend respectively. But from all of us here at Plume Park, absolute pleasure having your company. I'll see you all next time. From myself, Pete Pryor, it's bye for now.